Okay, so today's workshop is titled Social Media Presence and Your Job Search. We're going to cover probably the three biggest social media platforms that can impact your job search, but we're going to focus heavy on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the professional social media platform that's out there that can be very useful in a job search as far as making connections to hiring managers, companies that might be looking for people that do what you do, that kind of stuff. So we're going to kind of show you the basics on even how to start a LinkedIn account. And then afterwards, hopefully you can go out into the CRC, sit down at a computer and start your own account and kind of have an idea of what to do. All right. So move on here. Hold on. So the three biggest social media platforms that are out there are LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. Um, LinkedIn being the big one that's going to impact your job search, like I just said. But all three of these have pretty deep effects on what you do for your job search these days. To give you some lots of stats we're going to cover. It's a lot of information on this page, and you'll find all this information in the handout you guys have, just in a different form. But at top there, you see where it says 94% of professional recruiters network on social media and use it to post jobs to an extensive community. So if for them, it works out well that they can broadcast out to a broader grouping of people. Okay. LinkedIn is number one. It's utilized by 77% of recruiters. Facebook comes in second, is used by 63% of recruiters. And then Twitter's utilized by 54% of the recruiters out there. So all three of those you can tell are pretty highly percentage. What we found is that social networking, recruiting through social networks, social recruiting is what's working for people. 73% of recruiters have hired through social media. These are all stats, I believe, within the last 2 years, by the way. 42% of companies say that the candidate quality has improved. 20% of them say that it takes less time for them to find someone to hire. So for them, it's also worked really well. They're able to do their jobs a lot better. All right. For some reason, I got muted. So we're going to try this again. 31% say they saw an increase in employee referrals, and 65% of recruiters compensate employees for referrals. So if you can refer someone that you know for the job you have, that can also be a benefit as well. And usually that happens when people broadcast out on their Facebook about the job that they're currently working, how much they like it. Their employer will actually compensate them and send people their way. Things that you have to be careful of is the third column up there. It says candidates be careful what you post on social media, because 3 out of 4 hiring managers and recruiters actually check your social media profiles. 1 in 3 have actually rejected people for potential jobs based on what they saw on those social media profiles. So it's very important that what you put up there as your profile picture, as your cover photo of across the top, or what you might post publicly, can all affect what these people see. Okay. 78% will have disapproved what they see when people are referring to illegal drugs. And then 67% react negatively to posts of sexual nature. Okay. So again, if you're in the job search mode and you have social media presence, do your best on all platforms to kind of present yourself in the most professional manner possible. Especially during that time, because every time you send out an application to somebody and they see your name, there's a highly good percentage chance that they're going to go online on Facebook immediately and search up your name and see what they can find out about you before they may even read your resume. So while you're in the job search, you also got to be aware of all these other things outside of that resume that might affect what they look for. Okay. Moving on. So some people don't understand what it means when we say what's a social media presence. By definition, the social media presence refers to how you post and engage on your social media accounts. If you're posting daily or several times a week on any platform, you're considered to be present. But there's also several factors that contribute to having a great social media presence or also having a bad social media presence. Okay, there are two sides of that coin, the good versus the bad. The 4 things that you want to be sure to exhibit or to show on your social media is information that supports your qualifications. On Facebook, that's your about section. Professionalism and your online persona, you can do that on your Twitter bio. It's a very short blurb you can write about yourself. and then what other people are posting about you. And that's where they'll go on LinkedIn and see if what people are endorsing you for, what people are writing recommendations for you. Those kind of things are what people see when they look on your LinkedIn account. Things that you want to avoid: provocative or inappropriate posts or information, drinking or using drugs. We already talked about those. Discriminatory comments related to race, gender, religion, things you don't want to be known for. Bad mouthing previous employers or fellow employees on your social media, lying about your qualifications, poor communication skills, linked to any sort of criminal behavior, sharing confidential information from previous employers. All right, that's usually something you actually sign on paperwork when you take on a new job. Confidentiality reports. You've probably done the paperwork, never thought about what you're signing, but that's something that can affect you by what you post on social media. Unprofessional screen name or handle, especially on Twitter. Whatever your Twitter handle is, if it's something that's obscene or could be saw as bad, you might want to change that. If you've lied about an absence and then you post on Facebook that you went to, you're playing hooky that day and your boss sees it, it's not going to help you. Or if you just post too frequently, if you post a lot online throughout the day and an employer sees that, they're going to wonder, when's this person working? If they have time to post on Facebook 20 times a day from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock, when is it that they're working? So sometimes too much activity can also affect what they see. Moving on here. Go through. I did check marks to go through all that bad stuff. All right, tips for building a fabulous social media presence. So these are the real basic tips. First off, if you have not completed your profiles, they're very effective. On Facebook, you want to fill out the About section. Okay, if you don't have a Facebook page, that's fine. But if you do, if you haven't done that, go into it and look at the About section and fill in that information. It can be who you're married to, where you're from, what you're into, where you've gotten educated, that kind of stuff. If you have any sort of college work that you've graduated from college or community college, those kind of things is what they're looking for. On Twitter, again, use your bio. You can add links to relevant hashtags to your bio. So if you're someone who's a big proponent for maybe humane societies, like working with animals, you could tag the ASPCA, something like that. If you have a cause of helping like people who are homeless and working with nonprofits, they usually have hashtags you can associate yourself with that as well. That's what they're looking for there. And then on LinkedIn has probably the most in-depth account for professionals. This is basically your resume blown up. So your resume typically should be a 1 to 2 page document when you send that in to possible and potential employers. LinkedIn, if you were to print it out, would probably be like a small novel. It should be several pages long. So you can go into detail about everything you've done in the past, how good you were at it, what you did to succeed, any awards or certificates you're given. And you can even share your stories of your past jobs, some things that you did well. If you had a really good day or something really was successful, you can post out a status or a post about that and people will see that. So those things are seen by the public. Some more tips for social media presence, especially on LinkedIn. You can request and give suggestions to and from for peers, so you can make connections from people that you know. You could be endorsed, and you should endorse other people once you get on LinkedIn. Doing this gives instant credibility to your profile. Potential employers may look at your recommendations to determine how other people view you and how they worked with you in the past as well. Be engaging. So it says here, following and interacting with people on social media can be what separates you from the masses. All right. So think of social networks as a source for the informational interview. Interacting, communicating, and ultimately networking allows you to gain valuable information about a company of interest and industry trends, news, that kind of stuff. You can actually look up a company, see what they're doing. So when you go to interview with them, you kind of know what's going on in their world, and you can kind of speak to that, which will help you in an interview to show that you have done some homework, you got some interests, you've done above and beyond before walking in the door and hoping to get a job. All right. And then the thing that you got to be careful of is make sure that you're constantly professional and ethical in all your posts, especially on LinkedIn. Don't post things that's probably related to politics or religion, that kind of stuff. Try to keep it as professional as possible on LinkedIn, because that's the cleanest site, so to speak, where the best thing is just stay on that job mindset versus going into anything you might think in your personal thoughts. So big thing there. Even if you don't think you need social media, you do. Some people are afraid of the internet and they're afraid of what putting out there. But the truth is, the number you saw earlier, 94% of recruiters are looking on social media. So if you don't have something, even a LinkedIn page is the basic one. You need to look into creating a LinkedIn page because it's something that people are looking for, especially in the year 2020. All right, so keep that in mind. Um, Big thing is, you see at the top there, it says having a social media presence shows that you're up to date with the trends. It's essential for the older job searcher. If you're a 50 and over job seeker, maybe going for a second career or something's happened, or you find yourself searching for a job, this is something very impactful. To show that you have a social media presence could be a big help, because the hiring managers, they're going to look at someone who's over 50 going, man, this person's really up with it. They're engaging in the new world, and that it shows a growth kind of mindset that you're kind of changing with the times. Many companies are concerned about employees fitting into their culture. So this is another way to show that your personality, your integrity, and your level of professionalism will also fit in with their culture before they hire you. They want to hire someone that's going to be with them for a long time. So if you seem like someone that maybe has different beliefs, different thought processes than they do, then they can determine that early, and if you're something that it does fit with them, then obviously it increases your chances of getting hired. Right? Um, the big thing that employers are looking for these days, especially when they're looking on social media, is the idea of self-awareness and responsibility. Right. So a spotless internet presence will show that you understand the importance of keeping up and your ability to deal with certain situations. Social media should showcase your knowledge and abilities. Okay. Exemplify and show your professional abilities in a presentable manner. That's through LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is very clear cut. It's very simple. It's very easy to follow their platform. So take full advantage of them. Make it possible for potential employers to stumble upon your professional profiles even before you reach out to them. And so doing so, you may actually open up a door without you even realizing it. Someone might find you on LinkedIn and go, man, this guy's got the right kind of experience. He's got the right kind of history. They might reach out to you before you even find them. So it's kind of a passive job searching tool as well. So we're going to start starting with the basics of LinkedIn. Things going too far. So I'm going to play a real short video for everybody. Bear with me as I change screens here. Probably the most other people will find you on the site. Edit your profile. Navigate to your profile page. I'm not sure that video played for everybody. I apologize. It was playing audio here, but I'm not sure if it was shared over. So down the link, or down the bottom of the screen, is a link for this video. It should also be in the handout that we gave you guys. For those of you here in New York, I'll play for it at the end because it takes about 2 minutes to watch that video, but it's a good visual helper in that. So I apologize for the technical difficulties on that part. All right. So once you get into LinkedIn and you create your account, you're going to start getting emails that they're going to be asking you to buy a premium LinkedIn account. They're going to want your money. As a job searcher, as a normal everyday Joe job searcher, I'd say don't worry about buying into a paid membership. There are some perks to it, but something that unless you're willing to invest the money into, which is about $360 a year, it's a lot of money for someone who's probably looking for work. I wouldn't suggest doing it, but I did want to go over some perks of free versus paid. Um, Free is that you're going to get all this here on the left side of the screen, so you can build your profile. You can maintain a pretty large network. They don't limit you on how many people you can add. You can find and connect with colleagues, including classmates from high school and college, who can also lead to being potential job prospects for you. You can request and provide recommendations. You can search for people. You can receive in mail, which means that people can send you recruiting messages and get in contact with you. Some of you here in New York, I know, have experienced that. And you can save up to 3 searches and get weekly alerts where they send you emails on, if you're looking for a particular job title or job search, you can get emails of people who are posting jobs for that on LinkedIn. If you go into paying for it, which I said is about $360 a year, what you get in on top of all those other things is that you can direct message to recruiters. So it does open up a vein of a lane of communication. You can become a featured applicant. So when you do apply through a job through LinkedIn, if you pay for it, they'll put you at kind of the top of the list, right? You can do online video courses through LinkedIn Learning. They actually can see applicant insights. So when you do go to apply to a job, they'll actually see, you can see how you fit into that job, how highly you might rank with the experiences you have. So it makes it a little more statistically easy to see. And then you can get access to what salaries might be posted with the jobs as well. So you get more information, but for $360 a year, it's a lot of money. It's a monthly car payment for most people if they got one. Someone on the group chat, by the way, is unmuted. If you can mute yourself, I'd appreciate that greatly. All right. So another thing you're going to do on LinkedIn is you're going to add a photo. Okay. Now this is going to be different from your LinkedIn or your Twitter or your Facebook or your Twitter photo. Your LinkedIn photo should be something as professional looking as possible. If not a professional headshot, you can go get one. Most people can't. So I usually say just wear a nice collared shirt, nice dress blouse. Get in front of a wall and have someone else take the photo of you. Or take a picture of you at your current job if you're currently working, maybe in your workspace to show kind of what you do. Different ways of doing that. But that's something that's going to be seen by the public when they do search you up. Talk about experience. So this is where on LinkedIn, this is where kind of I say the juice is for people as they're doing job searches. Make sure that the experience that you list reflects everything that you can do. Right. So even if it's something you learn from delivering newspapers as a teenager to volunteering at a humane society at some point to a class you took while you worked another job to learn how to handle customer service, whatever it may be, list every experience you've ever done on LinkedIn, because that can all open up an avenue that someone says, hey, they have experience in XYZ. Many begin by importing their resume into LinkedIn and then tweaking each position that they've had. That's fine. Just know sometimes resumes aren't read correctly when you upload them into any sort of website. So you might find that they'll list like your name as like a job title. So it does take a little bit of getting used to manipulating that on the site. I usually just say just start fresh. Just do it all manually and add line by line, and then you can build on it. Always list the employment experience starting with the most recent, just like you would on your resume, your chronological order resume. If you don't have a resume, by the way, we do offer a resume writing class here at the PACareerLinks on Wednesdays with Shanna. She'll go through pretty detailed examples of resumes to help you maybe make yours current one better or to create a whole new one. So keep that in mind as well. All right. So you want to show your work experience the right way on LinkedIn. So you want to tell your story. Your LinkedIn work history is different medium than your one-line explanation of job duties that you have on your resume. So here you're able to provide more detail to fully illustrate your impact on the role that you've had in the past. For example, here on the left is good for resume. It says manage budgets, faculty, staff across 3 educational facilities, remotely and on site, right? Another one, recruited, trained, and evaluated employees. Ensured compliance with corporate regulations, supplied and oversaw all departments to meet client needs and improve placement, retention, and success rates. That all sounds great. That's perfect for a resume. Short, concise, direct. However, on LinkedIn, you want to stretch it a little bit more and add a little more detail in. So LinkedIn, for that same first bullet point, instead of manage budgets, faculty, and staff, you could say personally manage the success of 3 educational facilities by ensuring that all programs, faculty, and staff have the tools to provide a stellar education environment to all enrolled students. See the difference, right? It's a little more fluff, but it illustrates and makes it a little bit more easy for someone to kind of attach themselves into, to kind of invest in the fact that you impacted these things. Second bullet point, went from recruited, trained, and evaluated employees to supported and oversaw all academic and administrative departments in an effort to improve placement, retention, and success rates of students. I worked with each department to set up and meet realistic goals to ensure that all is being done to help students graduate. So again, it's like 5 words on the left. It's a lot of words on the right. But again, it shows that what you did to impact that, right? On LinkedIn, this is what they're looking for. And I'm not going to read every single one, but you can just tell visually the difference of resume versus LinkedIn. Okay. So, and by the way, I'll be honest, the stuff here on the right, it takes time. It takes some effort for you to go in LinkedIn and spend some time on here to rewrite these things. It's a scary thing, but if you're in the process of a job search, that's your job. So you might as well do it really well. Right? And this is just another facet to it. Skills and education on LinkedIn. All right. You want to list your skills. Shoot for a minimum of 5. Right. A minimum of 5 skills that you have in your life. I'm sure you have many more, but at least 5. Okay. You can add up to 50. So you can see why, there's a lot more you can add to it, but those who at least have 5 skills in their profiles have been shown to be contacted 33 times more often than there is with less. Okay. LinkedIn members receive 17 times more profiles when they have 5 or more. Okay. So again, people are more likely to see you with the more skills that you list. That's why they're very important. Make a point of listing skills in order of proficiency, so you can actually drag and put them in the order. So if you're really good at sales, make that number 1. If you're really terrible at sales, but you've done it, put it lower on the list. Okay. You want to list your strongest strengths up top. It's essential to keep that, because that's going to help, again, a recruiter know this person's really into this. Now, if you're making a career change, though, and let's say you want to change from sales into management, any management skills I would suggest you put up top there, so they see that that's your priority, that's your goal, that you're looking to go into management. That might also open up an avenue for that as well. But if you're staying in the same industry or same job title or whatever that you've done in the past, keep it in that order. Give a nod to all education. So when including education, you want to be sure to include all schools that you've attended. This allows for easier connections with old classmates, alumni, and the like. As it says, as much as you might not want to, high school classmates can be a good source. The people who you went to high school with 10 years ago might be the person who's the hiring manager for a profession that you want to get into. So even though you might not want to contact that person from high school, I suggest you want to get over that barrier, because that could be your next job lead, because that person might have a perception of you of being a really good person, a hard worker from high school, someone that they got along with great and they really liked. And then all of a sudden you pop up on the radar. They're more likely to call you because they already know a little bit about you. All right. And that's just the simple truth of hiring process. They hire who they trust and who they like. So keep that in mind. And then include any education that you got that maybe wasn't through high school or through college. If you ever did any sort of professional development, if you ever got certified for CPR, you ever got certified for driving a forklift, any sort of extra education you got throughout a job, list that as well, because that also opens up the avenue that people are going to see that you have some experience in something that they might be looking for. So you might have all the right cultural things and a little bit of experience in this little niche, and they might go, this person has a great personality. He's been exposed to this. I'm going to call this person because I can train him up to get better at this, and I know he's already going to fit in. So keep that in mind as well. So definitely keep in respect to all education. You're going to write a summary on LinkedIn. So it can be a little bit tricky when you're writing your summary. So it's one of those things that this is where people get caught up, because this also takes some time on LinkedIn. Don't be afraid to share your personality. a whopping 40 characters or 40% of recruiters want to look into what your mental attitude is. They want to know what your culture, what your personality is. Make sure it's at least 40 words. Okay. It doesn't seem like much, but sometimes it's hard for people to reach that goal. Again, that's because the more words and keywords that you can include in your summary, maybe keywords from your job description that what you're looking for, if you can work those words into your summary, you're more likely to pop up on a recruiter's list when they do a search. Drop any sort of reference to specialties you have in your summary as well. So if you've taken special training, if you're licensed, CDL, forklift, CPR, that kind of stuff, make sure you list that in your summary as well. All right. And then talk about experience. You want to talk about experience, but also talk about where you want to go. So your summary talks about what you've done in the past, but also maybe include a short paragraph about what you're looking to do, because that can also help them guide you into maybe a different position as well. You kind of have to put yourself in the head of the recruiters when they're looking at your profile. Like, what are they looking for? And you want to kind of feed to that idea. A good example of a summary is about 3 paragraphs. So it's kind of like a cover letter on your resume, right? This is a pretty good example that I found. I'll read it real briefly. It says, I'll just read the first paragraph. I find great people and find them great careers. This all starts with a conversation. Along the way, we'll find it together and uncover their values, personal aspirations, the next career move. And if we don't, well, then we'll keep the conversation going because I want to get them there. So this came from a woman who had worked as a recruiter and was trying to keep that recruiter position going. So she's looking for it in her search. So that's her summary. And I can go on and read it all, but it takes a little bit. The big thing you're looking at, there's 3 things that she shares with her summary. It opens with a strong description of her job, right, and her own words. Shares recruiting approach and mindset, practical information for candidates, and then it appeals to top performers and rising professionals and verticals. So she's, even in the first paragraph, she's showing what she's done. She's passionate about it. And even she's saying, if I can't help you right now, I'm going to stay in touch with you, and I'm going to build a rapport with you because I'm going to help you get there. So it's one of those things that's what people want to see is a little bit of positive mindset on these things. You don't want to put, like, even if you're a truck driver, I drove trucks and delivered stuff, period. That's not an effective summary. You need to find a more elaborate way to put it out there, that you transported goods from one point to another to ensure safety of their product and that it got there on time. It's an easy way to lengthen that same thing, but it makes a big difference in how you describe what you did or what you do. Headline. So another thing on the LinkedIn profile is your headline, which appears right next to your photo. It also comes up on search engine. So when they're searching for people who are maybe in like the medical field or in the education field or in the transportation field, whatever it may be, the very clear cut one is there in yellow, where it says civil engineering student graduating 2020, CAD survey blueprint expert, nuclear engineering professional, looking for lateral opportunities, welcome, talent acquisition manager at award-winning EchoStart. So it's one of those that really short and concise, but he listed a lot of information in there. But you can also keep it kind of funny, right? Because the big thing, if you look at there on the left, is, it doesn't always have to be boring for your headline. You can make it a little bit different. So this is a funny one I found when I was doing some LinkedIn searches. It says, quite possibly the only person on LinkedIn who isn't, quote, a results-oriented team player with excellent interpersonal skills. So they're clever, because what they did is they took keywords from a job description, and then I'm probably the only person not doing that. You're using sarcasm, they're using humor, and it stuck out because it kind of made me chuckle. It was a little bit funny, it made me click into that person's profile. So just like me, I'm a little bit of a nerd. Make it funny, keep it references. It's okay to share your personality on LinkedIn. If you don't know, that's a reference to the new Star Wars show, The Mandalorian. Like I said, I'm a nerd, so it's one of those things on my stuff. I usually throw in something that references something like that, in hopes that maybe the person that's going to call me might share the same mindset and go, hey, I'm a nerd, he's a nerd. It might be a good person to work with, right? So don't be afraid to show that. Just don't do anything that's going to get you in trouble. Now, read it twice out loud. So as you create your LinkedIn profile, it's a lot of information. Make sure that you read it, and then get someone else to read it after you read it, because the second set of eyes, as we all know, can be better for grammar, spelling, punctuation, that kind of stuff. And check your work. If you notice here on the screen, I found a good example that some young woman wrote editorial said college isn't really necessary, and someone went through her whole article and ripped her to pieces because her grammar, her spelling, all that was off, and that got published in a real newspaper. So get someone to help you. If you're not sure, ask for help. One way you can do it, there's a free program out there called Grammarly. I know me and Shanna here in New York both push that very heavily. It's a free program you can get through like Google Chrome that you can actually cut and paste your writing in there, and it will go through and literally tell you what you need to fix. You can also pay for it. There is a paid side for it as well that kind of opens up what it can do. But it's one of those things, even on the free side, I use it for my own college courses I've taken. It can help you and to make sure that your tone and that your spelling, that your grammar is correct. So Grammarly is a good free resource that you can use. Again, always check your work, guys. All right, custom URL. Most people don't know what URL stands for. It means Uniform Resource Locator. Basically, it's your address on the internet. Okay. A URL on LinkedIn is usually very complicated originally when you first set up your account, but you can customize it down to a very short and sweet version of it. This is the example you're going to see, and this is also in your packet. I've given you kind of detailed instructions on how to do this. But when you first create your LinkedIn account, if you notice where it says example, it has linkedin.com/pub/joan-smith/6A1234567. No one's never gonna remember that when they see that. So if you follow those steps, in the end, I'm gonna fast forward down to the end. You can make it so simply it's linkedin.com/n/Joan-Smith. Right, nice and simple. Now you may not all get Joan Smith because chances are there's 1,000 of us out there, but you can get something to the effect of Joan Smith 545, maybe your zip code or your date of birth, something like that. But it's one of those things. Still, it's much simple. If you have like a Gmail address, which is usually we suggest you do like your first and your last name at gmail.com, make it the same thing on here. That way, it's consistent. My name's Will Sparks Jr. My email is willsparksjr@gmail.com. My LinkedIn's is the linkedin.com/in/Will Sparks Jr. So I've kept it all the same, so it's easier for people to find me for those reasons. All right. So with this, you need to build your network and update regularly. So once you do set up the LinkedIn page, you can't just let it sit there in perpetuity of never ever paying attention to it again. You do need to build and actually work on this a little bit. New users should connect to anyone that they know, anyone with whom they have a professional connection. So past jobs, bosses, coworkers, or friends, neighbors, classmates, whatever it may be. Make all those connections that you can. You can, if you have their email, LinkedIn will pull that automatically and say, do you want to connect with this person? And you can just hit yes. It's pretty easy. Also, any sort of educators that you may have had in the past in school or college or training courses are also good people. Using LinkedIn on a regular basis is definitely recommended as it helps keep you in the loop with what's happening. Go back at least once a week or so to check messages, respond to requests for recommendations, to make comments, to comment on articles. Okay, there's lots of articles that shared on LinkedIn. If you can comment, put your 2 cents in, that's a good 2 cents. That can also get you noticed that you might be a professional in what you do. And then also, if you see someone got a promotion, you see someone got a new job, someone celebrating an anniversary at their current job, you can send them a congratulatory type message saying, hey, man, that's awesome to hear you're doing well. Again, it's just building goodwill, it's building rapport, it's showing that you're active, and it can help you. Maybe that person is someone who can connect you in with their business. If they've been there for 10 years and they like it and you guys share a brain, that might be a good referral for them to get you in on what they do. And if you show some interest in what they're doing, builds the opportunity. That's it for this. Okay. For those of you at home, if you didn't see the video, please, there's that link on the PowerPoint that your moderator should have. It's really only a 2-minute long video, so it's not very long. If you have any questions, moderators, please do your best to answer. If not, they can email me. I will actually, real quick, any questions you have, my email, and my folks in New York, I'll give you my card. So there's my email. If anyone has any questions about what we went over today, I suggest if you don't have a LinkedIn account to maybe go out to the CRC now, hop on and see if you can create one now. And if you need help, the moderator or staff there at your location. Hopefully will be able to help you and use the information packet I have as far as setting up the custom URL. So this is the end, guys. Thank you so much, people out there on the internet webs. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact me. Other than that, you're all free to go. It's only about 9:10, so it gives a little bit of time that if you're planning on being here at the 9:30, we can go work on the LinkedIn account out in the CRC. All right. Thank you, everybody, and I hope you have a good day.
You too.
Here it is. If you want the website, that's Will. Do you want to write that down?
Sure.
So it's W Sparks, SPARKS. Did I go too fast?
Yeah.
W
Sparks that.
EDSISOLUTIONS.com. So it's WSparks@EDSISolutions.com. If you have any questions. Good?
You are currently the only person in this conference.